Live from Ksat 12. Good Morning San Antonio starts right now.
Making headlines this morning, San Antonio police still have lots of questions following a shooting at a Southside flea market that left 5 people shot.
Plus, 5 states have shattered coronavirus death toll records, including Texas.
And outside with live cam, Mike is tracking some activity on radar as we speak. It's also back to school for many students across the San Antonio metro area today. And a good morning to you. It is Monday. It is August 17th. We have a lot to talk about today. We have back to school. We have weather in the area. And today is Stephanie Cerna's first official day as co-anchor on Good Morning San Antonio weekdays. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
We're so happy for you and we're proud of you.
I'm very excited, very grateful, and I'm excited to see you guys 5 days a week.
5 days a week.
To hang
That's
out
right.
with you.
More Steph. That's right.
That Friday.
Marcus said you asked for it. That's funny.
Indeed. Well, we are glad you're here. We're going to spend the morning celebrating the fact that you're a permanent part of the weekday team now.
Yep.
Thank you, Mark. That means a lot. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Mike, I know you're very, very excited. And you said today was probably our best day for rain in a while.
And well, let's talk about that later. First of all, let's look at live cam right now. We're not seeing anything. I've got this pointed up to the north to see if some folks were talking about they saw a couple of lightning strikes this morning coming into work, and there are a few of them up to the north, a couple of leftovers up there. The big picture, obviously a lot of rain over there by Houston, but notice that also that outflow boundary, it's really not doing a lot as far as temperatures are concerned. A lot of times that really drops temperatures down, but it is going to be the focal point for more showers and thunderstorms later on this afternoon. So we've got a few of them scattered just up to the north, right around San Marcos, up there by Blancos. You can see 1 or 2 lightning strikes up there. And then also this cell has been developing on the east side of town. And I was just looking at some of the TransGuide cameras, and Marcus is going to show you more on this in a moment. But there is some rain on the roads over there by Austin Highway, up on the northeast side of town, which is the one camera that I looked at. But we will continue. Notice how this is kind of sweeping down almost to the southwest right now. So that's going to be moving across town. So we will be getting some rain. This is not unfortunately going to be any sort of a drought breaker, but at least we're getting some rain, and there will be more this afternoon. Also, Storm Prediction Center has the marginal risk for some severe storms, basically the southwestern 2/3 of our viewing area. So it does include San Antonio, pretty much along I-10, if you will, and south of there. So high winds and small hail are a possibility later on this afternoon. Mold, pigweed are both on the low side. And as far as temperatures today, we tied another record yesterday, 103. 98 today. I think we have enough clouds around. Some of that rain keeps us down, but we are going to be back up right around triple digits for the rest of the week. But just keep your fingers crossed you get some rain today. Details in just a couple of minutes. Time saver traffic right now on this Monday morning. Here is Officer Marcus Trujillo. Morning, sir.
Good morning, Mike. And we're off to a very busy start right now. 2 major accidents. One of them just cleared just as you were given that forecast. That's the one on Highway 90 over there by Saliva. So let's get to the next one here. We're looking at a major accident that does involve a rollover. We're looking at westbound lanes of 410 right there at Morrison, Pleasanton, Morrison area. However, because it is a rollover, we only have 2 lanes in each direction. Just expect some additional slowdowns in both directions till we can get that accident cleared. We have a number of vehicles on the way responding to that accident. Now here's that rain Mike was talking about. This is up northeast side, 35. 410 area. This is 410 Austin Highway camera looking up northeast. As you see, the roadways are slick. There's a spray being kicked up by those vehicles traveling eastbound and westbound. So make sure you slow down, buckle up, put away those distractions this morning. Mark and Stephanie.
Thank you, Marcus. New this morning, San Antonio police say a 19-year-old man was shot and killed in front of his home this morning. It happened in the 8800 block of Meadow Range on the west side of town. SAPD says the man had walked outside during a confrontation with the suspect. During the fight, SAPD says the man was shot several times and died at the scene. The suspect got away in a gray 4-door vehicle and is still out there. SAPD says they know who the suspect is and they expect to make an arrest soon. Today, a big day for a lot of families, students, and several school districts in our area. For so many, today is the start of the new academic year.
And the start of school this year looking a lot different. One of the districts starting back up today is San Antonio ISD. Our Max Massey spoke with the superintendent there and joins us live in the studio. So Max, what should parents be aware of this morning?
Good morning, guys. Happy first day of school.
Thank you.
Very exciting. Yeah, there you go.
And to all the parents.
A
and
lot
teachers.
of takeaways, especially for parents out there. One of the biggest things, though, patience. Obviously, a lot of questions. The superintendent tells me a lot of frustration with this virtual learning. There's going to be questions, there's going to be frustrations, and there's going to be concerns. But please, parents, if you're listening, try to be as patient as possible. Right now, we know classes will begin virtually, at least for the first 3 weeks of the school year. That could last longer depending on the health landscape here in our community. But when it comes to virtual learning, obviously a lot of questions and in a lot of cases, a lot of lack of resources. But the superintendent tells me they have spent the last few months preparing, making sure students and families are ready.
We're very proud, Max, that we've distributed over 42,000 devices. And I ask our families, all of our school buildings will be open, even though we're starting virtually for the first 3 weeks. And so anybody who needs a device, who needs a hotspot, please just call your school, come pick it up. We'll have staff ready to support you.
And the superintendent adds that the first 2 weeks, the staff will be available on campus, like he was saying, to help navigate some of those tech issues if they arise. I'm told the plan going forward, though, if our help landscape gets any better, Saisd could start to phase in children very slowly, adding up to 25%, about 4 to 6 kids to a classroom. Again, phasing in that back to class learning. They will require masks. There's going to be cleaning procedures, disinfecting procedures, and kids washing their hands every hour. But again, those are conditions only if things get better here. And if any parents, if you're listening, and if you have any technology issues or if you have any questions, there are staff members at the school, and the superintendent is urging you to call and clear up any confusion you may have. But above all else, be patient. Have a great year. Stephanie, Mark.
Thank you, Max. Well, here's a look at all the districts going back to school today. It includes Alamo Heights, East Central, Edgewood, Floresville, Northeast ISD, San Antonio ISD, and Southside ISD. You can find complete coverage for back to school on ksat.com. Just head to the back to school section.
And police still don't know the primary shooter is in custody after 5 people were shot at a Southside flea market. It happened at the Mission Open Air Market around 11 a.m. yesterday. Chief William McManus tells us a dispute led to that gunfire. San Antonio fire officials on the scene say there were at least 100 casings. They say the gunfire caused a distraction, making their jobs a bit difficult with thousands of customers trying to flee for their lives. McManus says one of the shooters involved is in critical condition, but that investigation is still ongoing. And here's the latest look at the coronavirus numbers in our area. An additional 59 cases of COVID-19 have been reported in Bexar County. That brings the county's total to 44,052. The death toll also rose by 7, bringing that number to 598. 621 people are in the hospital right now. That's actually an increase of 14 from the previous report. 279 remain in intensive care, and 192 patients are on ventilators.
Well, nationwide, more than 170,000 Americans have now lost their lives to COVID-19.
5 states have shattered death toll records, and schools are having a tough time dealing with new outbreaks. ABC's Megan Tevrizian has the latest.
This morning, a new warning for parents as students head back to class. The CDC now reporting coronavirus cases among children are steadily rising.
It feels like they're waiting for people to get hurt, people who seem to think that COVID's just a cold.
Just weeks after reopening, a 3rd high school in Georgia's Cherokee County School District is closing after 500 of its 1,800 students are in quarantine. Arizona is now logging the highest rate of pediatric cases and hospitalizations in the country. Teachers outside Phoenix staging a sick out, forcing their school to cancel the first day of class.
Teachers are in a good position to give their voice, and they just weren't being heard.
An entire district in Nebraska is closing after 3 teachers tested positive and 24 more are in quarantine. And dozens of students are in isolation at this Oklahoma school district after 2 teens knowingly went to class after testing positive. COVID-19 hitting universities hard across the country, too. An internal FEMA document linking 151 cases to outbreaks at 4 Louisiana colleges. The University of Notre Dame recording 44 cases in its first week back. An entire sorority house at Oklahoma State University quarantining after 23 members tested positive. And the University of North Carolina now announcing a 4th cluster of at least 5 cases in just 3 days.
The level of anxiety I felt through that was nothing I've felt before.
Social distancing measures at East Carolina University being tested during its opening weekend. Police breaking up 20 parties, including one with 400 people.
But it's like, shut it down, we'll shut it down, go back home. Someone else is going to have another party down the street, you know, it's going to keep on going.
When it comes to online learning, school officials say they're taking virtual learning just as seriously as in-person classes. In Massachusetts, school officials say they've reported dozens of families to state social workers whose kids are not logging in regularly. Megan Tavrizian, ABC News, San Diego.
Monday morning, 440, 84 degrees.
And still ahead on GMSA, more on a close call where a great white shark attacks a woman and what her husband did to fight it off.
And XY House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is calling on the House of Representatives to return to D.C. for an unheard of session during presidential convention season.
And taking a look outside with live cam, I'm told we see lightning out there. I haven't seen it yet, though, not on my drive-in, but we can expect some rain. We're going to check in with Mike in just a bit.
Welcome back. Just about 4:44. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says she's calling the chamber back into session this week to address issues with the U.S. Postal Service. An aide tells CNN that will likely happen Saturday. That date would make the session unprecedented since it would take place during the Republican National Convention. In a letter to Democrats, Pelosi says she wants members to vote on the Delivering for America Act. She says it would prohibit the U.S. Postal Service from implementing operational changes that were not in place at the start of the year.
And just north of Austin, Cedar Park police say a suspect accused of shooting an officer during a house call still engaged in a standoff at this hour. Now, Cedar Park police say that suspect has barricaded himself inside of a residence since 3 p.m. yesterday, along with 3 other people, his mother, a juvenile, and an unknown third person. Once officers arrived on the scene and went inside that home, they were met with gunfire. The 3 officers returned fire. The injured officers were taken to a local hospital and they are in stable condition.
Japan is reporting its worst GDP number since modern records began. Country's cabinet office announced today that gross domestic product shrank by almost 8% between April and June of this year. That translates to an annual rate of decline of about 28%. Latest figures mark Japan's 3rd consecutive quarter of contraction amid the pandemic. 445, 84 degrees.
And still ahead, a scary moment for a married couple after a husband had to fight off a shark that was attacking his wife.
In this morning's GMA First Look, fighting off a shark attack.
Patient has numerous deep lacerations to just above the knee to mid-calf.
35-year-old Chantel Doyle attacked by a 10-foot great white. The shark latching onto her leg, refusing to let go. Her husband Mark, surfing nearby, saw it all and raced desperately over to her.
Well, you see the mother of your child and support everything that's who you are, and so you just react, you just get off that calf. That's all I could think was just get off.
Mark and the predator locked in a dangerous fight. So what exactly did this heroic husband do to save his wife? Coming up at 7 a.m., we have the dramatic details of how he fought off the shark and the tips so many swimmers need to know before getting in the water. With your GMA First Look, I'm Matt Gutman, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Well, our eyes do not deceive us. We are seeing rain on the roads out there in some places.
That's exciting to see, but what does the traffic look like for right now?
Well, down on the south side, we still have that one major accident, that rollover accident. Now, the one on the accident, rather, on Highway 90 has cleared up out of the way, but this, we're looking at the south side. Down there, westbound lanes of 410, right there in the vicinity of Pleasanton and Morrison Boulevard. Watch out for a number of emergency vehicles out there responding to that rollover accident. And here's the wet weather. Everybody's celebrating. 410 Austin Highway up on the northeast side. You can see slick roads, so make sure you slow down, particularly for those turns and long curves, just like you see right there on the screen. Moving over 64 in Wiseman, no problems there. Very dry out there. And I-10 and Hebner, they're not getting any bit of the rain yet, but hopefully it'll move that way.
Glad to see slick roads now. That means a sign of rain.
And Mike is joining us now. Mike, are you just beside yourself? Are you pinching yourself that we've got precipitation out there?
I like how you're throwing your voice there. There we go. Yes.
I'm here.
You know, a lot of people are very excited about the fact that we do have some rain this morning, and that's going to continue to be, we'll see still a few showers around the area throughout the rest of the afternoon, primarily down to the south. So this is not going to be any sort of a giant drought breaker. I don't mean to put a, no pun intended, wet towel on it, but it is nice to see a little bit of rain. Beautiful sunset yesterday. We're not seeing anything. This is the camera over there at 410, looking off kind of to the east, and so we're not seeing anything showing up as of yet. Now, look at the satellite picture over the past 12 hours, and we've got this flow coming in here out of the north that we've been talking about, and these disturbances. Obviously, the majority of the rain is well off to the east, but we do have some showers around the area right now. Also, some of those storms from last night, there's the outflow boundary, and this is going to be a good feature to help get things kind of going later on this afternoon as well. So we've got a few of these showers. There have been a couple of lightning strikes thrown in as well. And as you can see, some of these are moving right across town as of right now. This was really going gangbusters there for a minute, just 15 minutes ago over there by 35 410, and now it seems to be kind of dying down just a little bit. So we'll continue with a few more showers around this morning. Now here's the computer model. It's not initializing very well as far as what's being picked up right now. However, going on into the rest of today, we'll have a few clouds around here, obviously, some sunshine thrown on in, and that's going to help once we heat up to spark things. And then once we get into this afternoon, then we'll start to see more of this rain developing, and basically southwestern 2/3 of our viewing area is going to be where the majority of it will be. So kind of leaning toward the south. A few scattered showers and thunderstorms, about a 40-50% chance for some rain today. That's going to continue on through dinner time, and maybe even a few more out toward the hill country in the early evening hours will continue to pop up there, and perhaps even a leftover shower by tomorrow. Kind of wishful thinking. Now, Storm Prediction Center once again does have the southwestern, call it that, 2/3 of our viewing area, basically south of I-10, with the marginal risk for a strong to severe storm. And that would be late this afternoon, more likely on into the early evening hours. High winds and hail would be the biggest threats with that. 94 degrees today at noon, partly cloudy skies, so about the same temperature profile, but I think we have enough clouds around here this afternoon, and with some of that rain to hold us just below 100. By the way, we did hit 103 yesterday. That tied yesterday's record. At least it broke the string of 104s, so that's a positive note. And then we get back into the triple-digit readings, though, with a leftover shower tomorrow possible. We stay in the 100-degree range and even upper 90s going in through the weekend. So let's hope for some rain today, because after that, it's pretty much slim and none.
We'll take it. Oh my gosh, yes. It's just so wonderful, isn't it?
It's exciting. We're glad to have that today.
Yeah, and it will be limited, but at least there's some out there. So.
Exactly.
453, 82 degrees.
And coming up next, we're going to tell you about how some movie theaters, how they're doing across the world after reopening for the first time since the pandemic began.
Theaters across the world are reopening and finally bringing in a little bit of money.
For the latest on what's happening in Hollywood, here's ABC's Chris Watson.
That's Pose star Billy Porter performing For What It's Worth, a song he released in June in support of the Black Lives Matter movement. He'll also perform it at this week's Democratic National Convention, though given this year's pandemic-prompted virtual convention, Porter tells ABC News his performance was recorded ahead of time.
They came to my house, they set up a green screen, I sang the song, that's all I know.
The pandemic's pounded movie theaters, but they're bouncing back in Canada, where the debut of the SpongeBob movie, Sponge on the Run, topped all comers over the weekend with $900,000 from a modest 300 locations.
We are pleased to inform you that you have been accepted at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry.
A Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone 4K 3D weekend reissue in China added nearly $14 million to its lifetime earnings, putting it within about $2 million from a total billion-dollar gross. And Go-Go's frontwoman Belinda Carlisle is 62 Monday. And that's what's happening in Hollywood. I'm Christopher Watson, ABC News.
4:57, first half hour out of the way.
That's right. Already coming up on 5 o'clock. Still ahead in our next half hour, the latest on Vote 2020. The Democratic National Convention will officially kick off tonight.
All right, Steph, be honest. Have you ever wanted a Lamborghini? Well, maybe now you can get one. We'll tell you about the company's brand new go-kart.
Wow, that one I can handle.
Live from Ksat 12. Good Morning San Antonio starts right now.
And making headlines right now, a man shot dead at a north side apartment complex overnight. Details just ahead.
The battle over how to handle the upcoming election intensifies. I'm Inez de la Cuetara in Washington, and I'll have all the details coming up.
And taking a look outside with live cam, it is 79 degrees, but get excited. There's at least a chance of rain today. I'm happy about it.
And good Monday morning. It is August 17th. It's a triple treat Monday. It's back to school. We have rain in the area, and we officially welcome Stephanie Cerna to Good Morning San Antonio weekday.
Thank you.
We're so glad you're here.
Thank you.
We're going to do this all morning long because we're so happy you're here.
I'm so glad to be here, grateful, and it's going to be very fun hanging out with you 5 days a week.
We're looking forward to some wonderful years together ahead. Mike is here, and he is talking about those rain chances, and right now it's looking pretty good, isn't it, Mike?
Yeah, there actually is some rain around the area as of right now. Temperatures are in the mid-upper 70s, low 80s, so not much of a difference there. But look at that on the graphic. This is generated straight from the information coming out of the airport. That is rain it is light rain out there at the airport. But yeah, that's the report at the top of the hour. 67 is the dew point, so that has dropped down a little bit. The wind shifted around out of the northeast ever so slightly with some of those showers. The aquifer did drop down yesterday, and as far as the allergens, low amounts mold as well as pigweed. And first day of school, guess what we are pulling out as of right now? Yep. There's the school bus, and temperatures are going to be in the upper 70s. A couple of showers around the area this morning, and then later on this afternoon, I think we stay just shy of 100 with a couple of scattered showers and even a thunderstorm around, primarily to the south and southwest. I'm going to show you that in a second. Right now, take a look at radar, and we have got some beautiful sight with some of these showers out there. Now, it's not a lot, obviously. And unfortunately, most folks won't see any rain right now. We had a few more of these showers earlier, and there's that kind of an outflow boundary that's flowing through here, and that's why the wind has shifted around temporarily out of the northeast. And it almost looks like that the rain, which was just reported around the area, is now sort of kind of fizzle on out. We'll still keep a couple of these showers around, but again, this is not any sort of unfortunately, a drought breaker. However, later on this afternoon, more of these showers are going to be firing up, and some could be on the strong side. That's why the Storm Prediction Center does have the marginal risk for a strong to severe storm, basically I-10 and south and southwest of there. They'll be kind of scattered about, but a 50% chance for some rain, so the best we've seen around here in a long time. Hopefully we get some rain today, because after that, it's just going to be hot the rest of the week. Details coming up in a couple of minutes. Time saver traffic right now. Here's Officer Marcus Trujillo. Got some wet roads out there.
We do, Mike, and we also have a major accident. Now, we had two at the beginning of the show, one on Highway 90, and the second one being this one that we're going to. The one on Highway 90 has cleared. That's out of the way. Now, this one's being reported as a rollover accident. So down there, 410, just before Pleasanton and Morrison on those westbound main lanes. So those two lanes going to be blocked for a little bit. Remember, there's only two lanes in each direction, so there's a pretty good chance that also eastbound could be affected, the traffic flow. But for more on that, let's go live to Katrina Weber, who's out there at the scene. Katrina?
Well, good morning. It does look like the accident may have started on the highway, but this is where the car landed right here. This is the access road eastbound 410 just before Morrison, and we're right in front of the Frank Tejeda Academy, in fact. The car landed there on its roof. We have not had a chance to talk to the sergeant who got here just a few minutes ago, but I was told that there were some injured people who were taken to a hospital. Earlier, we had heard that the helicopter, and in fact, we did see the helicopter overhead, that they may have been looking for people ejected, but we have not confirmed whether they found anyone or whether they still think that anyone is out here in this area. But again, this is on the access road, so the main lanes of the highway really are not impacted. But if anyone is trying to pass by here, perhaps to get to the school, this area is shut down and traffic is being pushed onto the highway. So that's the situation here. We're actually, I do see the sergeant is here, and we'll be able to get an update for that for you and have that information in about a half hour from now. Reporting live on the south side, Katrina Weber, KSAT 12 News.
Thanks, Katrina. New this morning, San Antonio police investigating a deadly overnight shooting that happened on the north side of town. It happened around 11:30 last night at Salado Creek Apartments in the 3400 block of Salado Creek Drive. SAPD says a man in his early 20s was shot and killed in the parking lot. Police say he died from a single gunshot wound to the chest. They say a suspect got away in a vehicle, and police haven't found that person this morning. 5:06 right now. In the midst of the pandemic, back to school will look and feel quite a bit different for some of our largest school districts. And if it is your first day of back to school today, welcome back.
Yes, welcome back. Several districts like San Antonio ISD are starting classes later this morning, and they are starting virtually. Our Max Massey joins us live in the studio to tell us more about the kiddos. So what's the timeline for right now?
Good morning, guys. Well, first, before we even get to the timeline, you look fantastic this morning. Great fashion sense just going on.
Some really good colors yourself, Max.
We were ready for the first day of school. We're really prepared.
Like a uniform.
Exactly. The KSAT uniform this morning. KSAT U. There it is. Great job, Stephanie. Anyway, for SAISD, we know at least the first 3 weeks are going to be virtual learning. That is online learning. After that, it depends on how these pandemic numbers look here in our community. The superintendent does tell me right now we are in the red zone. They're starting virtually, but if health conditions improve, they're going to go to the yellow zone, and that could be sometime after Labor Day. The district could then start phasing students back into the classroom. During this time of virtual learning, though, 40% of SAISD teachers are voluntarily teaching from their classrooms because they're actually going to be the safety committee ensuring that all of the safety procedures in place, making sure it's all adequate. But when it comes to families and students at home, the superintendent understands there's going to be frustrations, there's going to be questions, but it is crucial that you are patient.
For all of our parents, know that the first couple of weeks, don't panic if your child's struggling or your child is having trouble logging on. Our staff are going to be there to support you. It always takes us a week or two just to get things in order.
The superintendent adds it always takes the district a week or two to get things in order. So please, please, please don't panic. There will be staff in the buildings and the buildings will be open if you have any help or you need any help with your devices or if you need to re-register your children for those new devices. Now, we also talked about that digital divide. They explained in preparation for the new school year, SAISD distributed, get this, more than 42,000 devices to make sure students, families, and parents were all ready. Mark, Stephanie.
Thank you, Max. And convalescent plasma has been proven to help critically ill patients diagnosed with COVID-19. And one of our own GMSA producers here at KSAT is joining the fight to save lives. Producer Gabby Annes recently recovered from COVID-19. She tells us that fighting this virus was a surreal experience, but she wanted to change that experience into a mission to help. After meeting the requirements to be able to donate plasma and a health screening, Gabby rolled up her sleeve. A spokesperson with South Texas Blood and Tissue Center tells us that Gabby's donation may be able to save up to 4 lives.
This is the perfect opportunity to give back to the community in a moment where everybody needs help.
The South Texas Blood and Tissue Center has sent out thousands of units to area hospitals. 75 donors are needed every day to meet that demand. If you are a COVID-19 survivor and you'd like to help, you can head over to ksat.com for the details.
The Democratic National Convention kicks off today, and the election issues surrounding U.S. Postal Service took center stage over the weekend.
ABC's Inez de la Cuatera is in Washington with the latest.
It's one of the biggest political events of the campaign season. The Democratic National Convention kicking off tonight with a We the People theme, featuring a slate of speakers tailored to address the three big crises now facing the nation: the coronavirus pandemic, the ongoing economic crisis, and the national reckoning over racial injustice. New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer, Bernie Sanders, and others all slated to speak. This as the battle over how to handle the upcoming election intensifies. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi taking the dramatic step of calling the chamber back to Washington for a rare session this weekend to deal with the unfolding crisis at the U.S. Postal Service. Democrats calling on the Postmaster General to resign, accusing Louis DeJoy, a Trump ally and GOP donor, of trying to silence millions of voters.
We've got to do everything we can to get rid of this new Postmaster General, who is clearly a campaign contributor for Trump, trying to undermine the Postal Service.
Democratic lawmakers also demanding DeJoy testify before Congress after cutting back on costs and overtime, resulting in a mail slowdown just months before Election Day.
Our elections are sacred. Men and women have died for them and the right to vote. And to do this is disgraceful.
The Washington Post reporting attorneys general from at least 6 states are considering legal action to protect the Postal Service as soon as this week. The president defending DeJoy.
Yeah, he's a fantastic man. He wants to make the post office great again.
As his administration insists, without evidence, that mail-in voting leads to voter fraud.
Universal mail-in voting is going to be catastrophic.
Do you realize how inaccurate the voter rolls are?
Funding for the post office is now on hold. 46 states and Washington, D.C. have already been warned that ballots may not be delivered in time to be counted. Inez de la Cuatera, ABC News, Washington.
Time check right now, 5:11, 79 degrees.
And still ahead, Facebook announcing a new feature that will make messaging people on Instagram just a little easier.
And next, why some parents are teaming up to create small groups of students who can learn together.
And taking a look outside with live cam this morning, it is 79 degrees, but we are excited about the chances of rain and rain in other parts of the city as well. So hang on to your hats. Yay, we have rain. We're going to check in with Mike in just a bit.
Welcome back, 5:15. This morning we're taking a look at learning pods. They are parents teaming up with like-minded families to create small groups of students that can be taught together.
Our Alicia Beretta explains what these pods look like.
Hi, good morning. Yes, well, the school year hasn't even begun, and for some parents, this school year has already proven to be a juggling act, and some teachers may still be worried about how they'll make ends meet. So this is where the learning pods come in. Today on GMSA at 9, we'll be meeting a former teacher, Rebecca Lewis, who's making good use of her certifications as an educator, as well as the space in her home. She welcomed us into her learning pod, where she'll be teaching several kids under the age of 10. Rebecca shares how she learned about these teaching pods and how she even decided they were a good fit for her family and the families she's now serving. And by sharing her journey, other parents or teachers may be encouraged to do the same, or at least learn how to navigate making this decision. So for parents still stressed about how they'll be able to meet the demands of work while still ensuring that their child receives a good education from home, or educators in need of a supplemental income, this story may inspire you. We'll have the full story today on GMSA at 9. Alicia Barrera, Ksat 12 News.
A lot of parents working out that technology today. And time now, 5:16 and 79 degrees.
Up next on Good Morning San Antonio, look at why German authorities have announced an investigation into Amazon.
This is my body of proof.
Proof I can fight moderate to severe rheumatoid arthritis.
Proof I can fight psoriatic arthritis. With Humira. Proof of less joint pain.
And clearer skin in PSA.
Humira targets and blocks the source of inflammation that contributes to joint pain and irreversible damage.
Humira can lower your ability to fight infections. Serious and sometimes fatal infections, including tuberculosis and cancers, including lymphoma, have happened, as have blood, liver, and nervous system problems, serious allergic reactions, and new or worsening heart failure. Tell your doctor if you've been to areas where certain fungal infections are common, and if you've had TB, hepatitis B, are prone to infections, or have flu-like symptoms or sores. Don't start Humira if you have an infection.
Humira is proven to help stop further joint damage.
Want more proof? Ask your rheumatologist about Humira citrate-free.
If you can't afford your medicine, AbbVie may be able to help.
Antitrust authorities in Germany have announced an investigation into Amazon. ABC's Mona Kosar Abdi has details in today's Tech Bites.
In today's Tech Bites, German authorities launching an investigation into Amazon's relationship with third-party sellers. Germany is Amazon's second biggest market after the U.S. Officials say there were complaints that Amazon had blocked some traders early in the pandemic for setting prices too high. Facebook is now merging Instagram and Messenger chats. That gives users the option of chatting across both platforms, and that's the latest effort by the social media giant to bring individual products and apps closer together. And take a look at the Lamborghini of go-karts, the car maker teaming up with a Chinese company to upgrade the electronics giant's mini racer. Changes include a top speed of 25 miles per hour, LED headlights for better visibility at night. Price tag, just over $1,400. Those are your Tech Bites. Have a great day.
Cheaper than a Lamborghini.
Way cheaper. Somebody will buy it.
I think so.
Let's check traffic right now. Just got an alert about a major accident, Marcus.
25, that's it?
Speed.
For
yeah,
the
the speed.
Yeah, I've seen.
You thought it would be more impressive?
Yeah, especially since it's branding the name Lamborghini.
On it, you know there's governors on it, so
put a motor on each wheel. There we go. Right now, as we take a look, we do have a couple of accidents. The first one's the one that Mark just mentioned, that rollover accident. This one still in the process of being cleared up. Now, Katrina Weber's out at that scene, and then this one just coming in a little while ago. This one's a little bit affecting 410, but also Highway 151. So if you're eastbound on Highway 151, coming from 604 back over towards 410, you have that huge flyover ramp. And right as that ramp meets up with those northbound main lanes of 410, that's where you have all that activity. So it is causing problems both for folks exiting onto 410 from Highway 151, as well as folks that are on on Loop 410 coming from Highway 90. So it's going to take a while before we get all these cleared up and things settle down. Mike?
Thank you very much, sir. And as you can see in that picture, the road was fairly dry. We're not seeing anything in live cam. This is over there at 10 at 410, looking back toward town, kind of down to the southeast. We do have a little bit of rain on radar. A lot of this, where it doesn't really move, is kind of some clutter around the radar site. And notice how earlier we had even a couple of thunderstorms up there to the north. Some folks came into work and were like, hey, I saw some lightning out there. A lot of that has sort of fizzled on out. One thing also to look at as this loops back on through, this line that moves down to the south, that's kind of an outflow boundary. There were some pretty good thunderstorms late last night up to the north, and it sent out those outflow boundaries. So that's going to keep the atmosphere churned up. That's going to help us out later on in the day. Now, as far as right now, I mean, it's blinking, it ended. I mean, this is almost like somebody flicked a switch. We had some pretty good rain coming down here on the northeast side of town, almost moving into downtown, and then it just sort of fizzled on out there. But like I said, we will see a little bit more later on this afternoon, about a 50% chance for more showers and thunderstorms later on this afternoon. Here's the computer model, and again, it doesn't look encouraging for midday, but then by the afternoon hours, we start to see more of those showers pop up here and there. By dinner time, a few more of them are going to be popping up, and that will continue to be the case into the evening hours, especially working its way down to the south, because we still have that northerly flow in the atmosphere. So some leftovers tonight, and then tomorrow morning, just a couple of morning clouds hanging around here, although in the afternoon there is the chance. I think this is a little bit of a broad brush with this model, but there is the chance for a couple of more scattered showers around tomorrow afternoon. Then after that, that's pretty much about it. Now, as far as today is concerned, and basically into this evening hours, Storm Prediction Center does have the marginal risk for strong to severe storm. High winds would be the biggest threats, maybe a little bit of pea-sized hail, but that's going to be pretty much the southwestern two-thirds. Basically, south of I-10 is the the aerial coverage for that marginal risk for any sort of severe storms later on this evening. As far as the forecast this morning, a couple of showers left over around here, then partly cloudy skies today at noon, 94 degrees, and then I think we have enough in the way of some clouds this afternoon to keep us just below 100. So I'm banking on a few more clouds kind of coming on in here. We'll have a few showers and a couple of thunderstorms developing late this afternoon. Again, the best area to see anything is going to be pretty much south of I-10. Tomorrow, a scattered shower. However, we're back up into the triple digits, and I think we stay around triple digits throughout the rest of the week and even upper 90s into the weekend. Now, today is kind of a landmark day, if you will, because we have gone over the hump, if you will, as far as normal temperatures. We were at 97 for about 10 days. Now we're at 96. Big cool down.
Big cool.
On paper.
On paper.
On paper.
We'll take it. Thank you, Mike.
Right now we're at 525, 79 degrees.
And coming up next, a full-length clip of one of Elvis Presley's historic performances can now be seen for the first time. We're going to tell you where.
Here is Elvis. Love me tender, love me true.
High-quality, full-length clips of Elvis Presley's historic performances on The Ed Sullivan Show can now be seen on YouTube for the first time. The show's official YouTube channel is rolling them out over the next 3 months as a special tribute to the King. The first batch begins streaming this week. The Beatles gave a few historic performances of their own at Liverpool's Cavern Club. The venerable venue and tourist attraction is now in danger of closing its doors forever due to the coronavirus pandemic. The club that helped launch the Fab Four is losing nearly $40,000 a week, according to a manager. Liverpool's mayor warns it could shut down for good unless government relief funds are approved. Jennifer Hudson is doing a lot of good in Chicago. The Oscar-winning actress and singer handed out 2,000 backpacks filled with school supplies to needy students in her hometown. Hudson, her sister Julia, and a group of volunteers delivered the supplies, which included face masks and hand sanitizer. In Hollywood, I'm Douglas Hyde.
And Mike was just telling us they shot Elvis from basically mid-chest up only because his hip gyrations were considered so controversial for the time.
Can you imagine, then and now?
Now?
I mean, just the
That stuff's
what's out there right now.
considered quite tame now, right?
I think so. But yeah, my mom, huge fan of Elvis, and me too.
529, 79 degrees.
And still ahead in our next half hour, there's some good news for people who are a little leery about a nasal swab test for COVID-19.
Plus, latest on massive demonstrations in Belarus following disputed re-election of the country's president. And good morning. It is Monday. It is August 17th, and we welcome Stephanie Cerna to Weekday GMSA.
Thank you.
Here she is.
Thank you. Good morning. It was funny this morning getting up. My husband, I wasn't completely ready, but he still snapped a picture because it's my official first day.
Kind of your first day of school,
yes,
right?
Right. And it's also my daughter's first day of school later today, so he'll be snapping a picture of that as well.
That's awesome. Well, we hope you have a good school year, Rooney. Right now, we're going to check in with Mike and Marcus at Get Update because you both have quite a bit to talk about this morning.
Right. We did have some rain around the area. A lot of it has already kind of fizzled on out, but we still have more that's going to be developing later on today. So here's the live cam over there, 10 at 410, and not really seeing anything. On radar, it looked much more impressive earlier this morning. Now, obviously, there's a lot of rain over to the east and to the northeast of us, and we did have a couple of or even a couple of flashes of lightning. There is still some just up, say, to the east of Austin right now. Some folks coming into work said they saw a couple of flashes of lightning, and notice a lot of this is just kind of some clutter around the radar site up here. The rain that did move through on the northeast side just all but fizzled out. But notice how there is that line that moved on through here. We had sort of an outflow boundary move down here, and that's going to help us out later on today. with spawning more showers and thunderstorms. Storm Prediction Center for later on today does have the marginal risk. Basically high winds and maybe some small hail would be the biggest threats, and that's pretty much the southern 2/3 of our viewing area south of I-10. Temperature right now is 79 degrees in town, which is really no different than what we've been seeing for low temperatures the past couple of days. But the big difference is the humidity has dropped down. Dew points, which were up in the low 70s, have dropped into the mid 60s. So it wasn't like we had a huge surge of dry air coming on in here. The wind has shifted around out of the northeast, and it's a little bit more comfortable outside this morning, although I think we'll see a rebound in some of the humidity. So showers, a couple of thunderstorms, upper 90s. I think enough cloud cover to hold temperatures down slightly later on this afternoon. Tomorrow, a shower is possible, but we also get back up to triple digits, and we stay in triple digit range, even though historically we're supposed to be on the downhill slide. We stay in the triple digit range throughout the rest of the week. Details in a couple of minutes. Time saver traffic right now. Here's Officer Marcus Trujillo. So far, busy morning, huh?
It has been a very busy morning, Mike, and folks, so they're still clearing this accident down on the south side. Westbound lanes of the access road of 410 happened on the main lanes, but ended up on the access road. We'll check in with Katrina in just a second, but we have another major accident. Now this one, it's not actually here, 410-151, that's the auto plot, but this is exiting from eastbound Highway 151 to northbound 410, and that's where you see all those flashing lights there along with the shaking camera. So traffic is starting to back up on that exit ramp just a little bit. Now let's go back to this accident. Westbound 410, the access road right there between Roosevelt and Morrison Road. Let's go live to Katrina Weber out at the scene.
Well, good morning. I had a chance to speak to the sergeant just a little while ago. As he put it, this is a very bad looking accident. In fact, when you look at this wreck and you see how the roof, well, on the other side, how it has collapsed, you almost wonder how anyone survived. But police say that there were two men who were injured, but they did survive this crash. They were ejected from that SUV as it rolled over here on the access road. They were both taken to hospitals, but police say it doesn't look like their injuries are life-threatening at this point. But what we have here on the access road is a big field of debris. You can see where this SUV came off the main lanes of the highway as it was westbound on 410 heading toward Morrison. For some reason, it rolled off. Police are not sure what that reason is yet. They say that they weren't able to get a whole lot out of the men who they did find here at the site of this wreck. They weren't very forthcoming with information. But again, they were injured, taken to a hospital. No fatalities despite the way things look. Reporting live on the south side, Katrina Weber, KSAT 12 News.
Thank you, Katrina. 5:36. People may soon have a quick, non-invasive, and inexpensive way to find out if they've been infected with the coronavirus.
As CNN's John Lawrence reports, health officials say this might help the country flatten the curve.
A possible breakthrough in the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic. The FDA granting emergency use authorization for a saliva test.
It doesn't need the same reagents and swabs that have been the rate-limiting step to being able to create testing at scale in this country. It really could be a game changer if we can deploy it.
Officials say results can be determined in under 3 hours, and tests are expected to cost about $10 per sample.
I think it will take weeks, if not longer, for this test to become more widely available. But as it comes online, I think people will like it much better than the more intrusive nasal swab test.
The National Basketball Association helped to fund the development of this test and uses it to test for non-symptomatic carriers. This FDA announcement comes as the U.S. death toll for known COVID-19 cases passes 170,000, according to Johns Hopkins University.
This virus is still spreading widely in the communities. It's not under control yet over most of the United States, I'm afraid.
And while no new cases of COVID-19 are trending down, some say more still needs to be done.
We've really underinvested in public health for decades now and continued to do so during this entire period and haven't done the work necessary to contain the virus.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
Mandatory evacuations have been issued for areas near Salinas, California because of a large fire. Fire officials say 5 structures have been damaged. So far, the river fire has burned over 2,000 acres and is only about 10% contained. 4 firefighters suffered heat-related injuries. The fire was caused by a lightning strike.
World's oldest panda in captivity, celebrating her 38th birthday today. Fans and locals visited the zoo in southwestern China this weekend to make her a big cake out of fruits, leaves, and bamboo. They sang birthday songs as she walked out of her habitat and up the stairs to enjoy the cake. The giant panda Xing weighs about 220 pounds. She has given birth to 10 baby pandas and has over 150 descendants in zoos around the world. There are barely 30 pandas over the age of 30 left worldwide.
Oh my goodness.
Happy birthday, Xing.
Yes, happy birthday.
5:39, 79 degrees.
And still ahead, get ready for higher prices from the United States Postal Service. We're going to tell you the reason for that increase.
Those forever stamps are still good though, right?
Yes.
Up next, hundreds of thousands of people in Belarus demanding that its pro-Russian president step down.
And taking a look outside with live cam this morning, it is 79 degrees for now. We are expecting a little bit of a break from the heat. We'll take it. Mike's going to explain coming up next.
5:42, you're watching GMSA. We're following massive demonstrations in Belarus after the disputed re-election of President Alexander Lukashenko.
Now, more than 200,000 in the streets of Minsk calling for the outs of the man described as Europe's last dictator. Here's ABC's Julia McFarlane.
Belarus taking a stand. Hundreds of thousands of people demanding the pro-Russian president, in power for 26 years, step down. Europe has not seen anything like this since the fall of the Berlin Wall. Our Patrick Revel is there.
This is a place that even just a few days ago, people were afraid to gather in even small groups. And now there's just this river of people behind me.
Dozens of protesters have given details of beatings and torture at the hands of state security. But that hasn't stopped the huge crowds taking to the streets for the 8th day in a row since last week's disputed elections. The police entirely retreated. Alexander Lukashenko is known as Europe's last dictator. Just days ago, he appealed to Putin for assistance, warning that if he falls, other post-Soviet states will follow suit. An estimated 200,000 people attended today's rally. The shout of the crowd is becoming louder and harder to ignore, right on Russian President Vladimir Putin's doorstep. Julia McFarlane, ABC News, London.
5:43, 79 degrees.
Coming up next, we're going to tell you what you can expect when you can see that price hike in certain services at the post office. And welcome back. It is 5:46. In your morning consumer headlines, President Donald Trump has ordered social media app TikTok to sell its U.S. assets within 90 days. This is the latest in a rift between the president and TikTok after he declared last month that he wanted to ban the app. He issued an executive order calling on TikTok's parent company to divest. ByteDance is the Chinese-owned parent company of TikTok. In the order, President Donald Trump says that TikTok is a threat to national security. TikTok has scrambled to keep its American presence alive and has previously threatened to take legal action. Meanwhile, Microsoft has emerged as a potential buyer for the platform.
United States Postal Service planning for a temporary price hike. It will go into effect from October 18th through December 27th of this year. The price increase due to the high demand for online items. Package shipments will see a rate increase of anywhere from 24 cents to as much as $1.50. USPS filed the notice with the Postal Regulatory Commission. The price hike is expected to still keep Postal Service rates fairly competitive while providing the agency with much needed revenue.
And two of the country's biggest car makers are almost done with the ventilator business. Ford says by the end of the month, it will have built about 50,000 ventilators with its partner, General Electric. That fulfills a multi-million-dollar order with the government. GM is on track to finish making 30,000 ventilators. The push to build ventilators started in the spring as the coronavirus ramped up.
We have had some traffic troubles this morning. Right now, it is 5:48.
Marcus Trujillo, how's it looking out there?
Well, we are making progress on some accidents and others are still there. So right now, so you take a look at the map, we're going to zoom into the first one that came in out of these two. We have this one westbound 410 access road. And as you saw earlier from Katrina Weber's shot, There's a lot of debris out on the roadway on the access road. So the main lanes still look okay. Access road, however, still closed. Everyone being forced onto the main lanes of westbound 410 as you're headed just past Roosevelt. Now take a look. This section has cleared up, exiting from eastbound Highway 151 to continuing on to northbound 410. As you see that one finally out of the way.
Good news. Thanks, Marcus.
Now let's look at the heat. We get a little break, right?
Yeah, we get a bit of a break today. We've had a couple of showers. Now, the problem is it looks like most of that, I'm sorry?
Something. I heard something about family.
Oh,
family pics.
Okay, I'm sorry. I guess it's my first day, so I wanted to share some.
Oh, that's what we're doing here. I thought it was back to school or something.
I thought it was back to school.
I am now on board with our game plan. All right. Hey, guess what? Let's start over. Stephanie started his first day on GMSA weekdays, and we are welcoming her here.
Thank you so much.
And that's what Stephanie looks like in front of the camera.
Yeah, well, I was actually with Asian. That's our photographer, Asian Burmia. And that was actually when we were doing a story in Austin. So that was, this is us out in the field.
Fantastic. Well, and there's you with your husband, Luis, and he is a photojournalist here at Ksat 12. You guys have a daughter named Rooney, and today is her first day of school.
Yes,
How long you guys been married?
8 years. So, and then there's my dad, who passed away. Actually, he passed away a year after we got married, but I always remember him, and always thinking about him, especially this past weekend. So, and there are my parents, people. My mom's still here in San Antonio, and this is before we were gonna start, well, not we, but me. I was gonna do a marathon, and so they were cheering me on like they always have. I've always been super supportive.
If you guys didn't know, Steph is a marathon runner. She's done the Abu Dhabi race. She's done the Boston Marathon. She's done them all.
No.
North America to South America, the whole deal. Anyway, but yeah, welcome aboard, Steph.
Thank you so much, Mark. I appreciate it.
All right, Mike, we know you have a lot to talk about. Let's get to it.
Yes, and especially later on this afternoon. First of all, beautiful, beautiful sunset yesterday, and sunrise today should be pretty nice. We do have a few clouds out there, and that's left over from some of the rain. It looked a lot more promising earlier this morning. We had some showers that had popped up, even a couple of thunderstorms. A lot more is off to the west, but also take note at this line right here working its way down to the south. That's the outflow boundary from some of the storms last night. That's important because that's going to come into play later on today. We did have, and it looked like a nice big area where it was, and then it just blinked on out. It just sort of fizzled on out. But we're not done as of yet, so all is not lost. The rain chances are not over, even though we're going to have definitely a lull going through the midday period. Then later on this afternoon, as things start to heat up again, we're going to start to see more of those showers popping up here, and they'll really start to get going about dinner time and then going into the evening hours. Obviously, the main area is going to be pretty much west and south and southwest, basically south of I-10. That'll be the situation in through this evening. And then tomorrow, I think we just have cloudy skies in the morning, some sunshine in the afternoon, but a few more showers. This is kind of done with a bit of a broad brush, but we still have a small chance for some rain tomorrow. And after that, I think that's pretty much about it. Storm Prediction Center does have the marginal risk for some severe storms later on today. Strong to severe. High winds would be the biggest threat with that, maybe a little bit of pea-sized hail. So we've got the high, which is off to the west. We've been talking about this going back into last week, how it was going to finally sort of loosen its grip a little bit. Now, we still got up to 103 yesterday, tied a record, but we are into this northerly flow right now. So we get these little glitches moving on through here. That's what gave us the rain overnight and also later on today with that leftover outflow boundary. We still have the northerly flow around here, and so that keeps the small chance of rain around tomorrow. After that, I think pretty much rain chances are out of the picture, and we start to heat up because this thing is still got enough of a grip on us even in toward the end of the week and going on into the weekend. So not much really changes all that much going into the weekend. We'll still be in the upper 90s, close to the low hundreds. Now, as far as the tropics are concerned, there's a couple of areas of interest which short term don't have anything to do with us at all, but there is some speculation that these may start to work their way across the Caribbean and perhaps in toward the Yucatan in about a week and a half or so. that's a wait and see situation. So that would hold out a little bit of hope going into the latter part of next week. Today, 94 at noon, partly cloudy skies. 98, I think we have enough in the way of some clouds moving in here to keep us just below 100. Some folks may get triple digits today. We'll have a couple of more scattered showers and thunderstorms around the area, primarily to the west and southwest. And then a couple of showers tomorrow, but back to the triple digit temperatures. That's going to be the case throughout the rest of the week.
All right, thank you very much, Mike. 5:53, 79 degrees. We're going to take a look at all of your lottery numbers.
Yes, hope you get lucky today. Pick 3, 402, Fireball 4, Daily 4, 2437, Fireball 9.
Cash 5 numbers 4, 10, 12, 18, 20. Lotto Texas 14, 15, 42, 46, 47, 51. And Powerball 5, 12, 34, 45, 56. Powerball 3, Power Play also 3. Good luck.
Good Monday morning to you. Coming up here on GMA, we'll have the latest on the CDC's concerning new warning as schools open. COVID cases among children are steadily increasing, and now more cases are reported on college campuses. So this morning, top public health expert Dr. Ashish Jha will join us live with the latest. You'll see that and so much more coming up right here on GMA.
Well, getting through college can be difficult for many students who have aged out of the foster system. Coming up on GMSA today, how Bexar County and local colleges are doing their best to make the transition easier for youth that need help the most. It's been a very active morning on the roads, number of accidents out there. We'll get an update on whether any of them have cleared. That's coming up with Officer Marcus Trujillo, and your Monday forecast looks like it could be soggy for a few folks. We'll be right back.
San Antonio police are trying to figure out what sent this SUV off course. 2 men were injured here on the south side. I'm Katrina Weber. I'll have that story.
Good morning, I'm Max Massey. For so many districts in and around San Antonio, today is the first day back to school. I'm going to give you an inside look at Calumet High School and show you how they are starting their year.
And taking a look outside with live cam, it is 78 degrees for your first day of school. A lot of districts starting up today, so good luck to all the kiddos, all the teachers, and all the parents out there.
Live from Ksat 12, Good Morning San Antonio starts right now.
And a good morning to you. It is Monday. It is August 17th, and we have a brand new news anchor here on the weekday edition of GMSA, and she is a familiar face, and it would be Stephanie Serna.
Thank you, Mark.
Welcome aboard.
Thanks.
We're all so excited that you are officially here.
I'm excited. I'm happy and I'm grateful. So thank you for having me.
And now she has weekends off.
What will we do?
I know. But so Steph's here. That's part of the treat today. We also, it's back to school day, as you hinted there, and of the live cam. Mm-hmm. And Mike is talking about chances for rain. They have kind of hung in there as we've come into the first day of the work week.
We had some rain around late last night, and that helped spawn a couple of showers this morning. Most everything has died down right now, but we still have rain chances later on today, and just keep your fingers crossed that you see some. So nothing is showing up in this picture right now. As a matter of fact, nothing is really showing up on radar. We had, like I said, some of those showers, even a couple of thunderstorms earlier. Most of it, obviously, is well off here to the east around Houston. And yeah, it had looked very promising, and there still may be a couple of damp spots on the roads. 410 Austin Highway area. There were some decent showers earlier this morning. But also take note at the flow coming in here out of the north. There was an outflow boundary that moved on through here. That's going to be the triggering mechanism that'll keep the atmosphere sort of stirred up, and that's going to help to spawn more showers and thunderstorms later on today. Storm Prediction Center has the marginal risk for a strong to severe storm, basically south of I-10. High wind's going to be the biggest threat, maybe a little bit of pea-sized hail. The wind did shift around out of the northeast down here at the surface. It's pulled in slightly lower humidity. It's still fairly humid, though, when you step outside. And later on today, we are going to have temperatures. We'll stay about the upper 70s for the next couple of hours. And then throughout the rest of the morning, temperature profile about what we've been used to, 94 at noon. But then I think we have enough in the way of some clouds around here to keep temperatures just below 100. Don't get used to that because it is going to heat up for the rest of the week. Maybe a stray shower tomorrow. Details coming up in just a couple of minutes. Time saver traffic right now, and Officer Marcus Trujillo. And there's been a lot going on this morning.
There has been a lot, but we've managed to clear up most of the accidents. We do still have one. That's going to be the rollover accident down on the south side. We're going to zoom in on the map just west of Roosevelt. So if you're on the westbound access road between Roosevelt and Morrison, you'll find yourself being forced onto the main lane. So if we go live out there to the scene, that's where we have Katrina Weber live on the westbound access road of 410 at Morrison. Katrina?
Well, good morning. It looks like police are in a holding pattern here. Really, the only thing left is to clean up this mess. And what a mess it is. Take a look at the SUV on its hood, on its top rather, and the wide field of debris that stretches along the access road. It appears that police are just waiting for a tow truck or someone to come clean this up. The two men who were in the SUV have been taken to a hospital. Police say they found them outside this vehicle. They were ejected from the vehicle during the crash, which happened a little bit after 4 o'clock this morning. Now, originally they thought there might be more people. They had their helicopter fly over looking for others, but then they determined that there were only those two men who were inside the vehicle when it crashed. Well, they're still not sure what went wrong, how they came off the highway and ended up here right in front of Frank Tejeda Academy, but that is where they landed. And again, those two men, police say that their injuries did not appear to be life-threatening, but they were ejected from that SUV. Reporting live on the south side, Katrina Weber, KSAT 12 News.
Thank you, Katrina. Many of our larger school districts in and around San Antonio are starting their academic year this morning.
And here's a look at all the districts going back to school today. This includes Alamo Heights, East Central High School, Edgewood, Floresville, Northeast ISD, San Antonio ISD, and Southside ISD.
Along with those is CastMed High School. Max Massey joins us live from inside the school. For Max, those that don't know, what makes CastMed so special?
Good morning, guys. CastMed is a very special program. It gives children who want the opportunity to take that medical path, it gives them that path early on in life. Right now, 9th and 10th graders. We are joined here, principal of CastMed, Dr. Rodriguez. So give us the timetable. What does it look like for you on the first day of school today?
Well, today we're very excited because we're finally going to be able to see our students. And by seeing our students, we know that they're safe, which is the priority. So today what we're doing is we're meeting them virtually, and it's going to continue for the first 3 weeks of school. And then after Labor Day, depending on COVID, the plan is for students to be able to come into the building, although we will only allow for 25% of our students to join us. So today we have virtual meetings with our kids, kind of setting the stage, planning with them, telling them about the importance of attendance and so forth.
And right now, I mean, we're taking a look, we're inside the classroom, and we can see not that many desks, not that many chairs, and that's because you guys are already planning way ahead for that phase-in program. Can you tell us how many kids you expect to bring in at a time?
Exactly. After Labor Day, we're expecting 25%, which for our school, since we only have 9th and 10th graders, that would be about 49 students that will be coming in. And we've planned all safety protocols to be followed. Our school district here in San Antonio ISD has been very instrumental in working very hard in creating a plan that includes everything. So we're spacing our desks, as you can see, so that our students are more than 6 feet apart. Also, we have decals in the cafeteria for maintaining that. We have hand sanitizers. We will be taking temperatures. We will make sure that kids only bring their Chromebook, no textbooks, everything's online. We just want to make sure that safety is followed. That is priority.
Perfect. Dr. Rodriguez, thank you so much for joining us this morning. And guys, we are far from done. Coming up at 6:30, we're going to talk to a teacher, talk about how they're pivoting their teaching methods. Mark, Stephanie.
All right, thank you, Max. And as always, we want to keep you informed as much as possible when it comes to heading back to school. Right now on ksat.com/school, you can find tentative start dates for school districts in our area, as well as other important information for parents.
New this morning, San Antonio police say a 19-year-old man was shot to death in front of his home late last night. Officers tell us it happened around 11:15 in the 8800 block of Meadow Range. That's near Grissom Road. Police say the man was shot several times after a confrontation with a gunman outside his home. He was pronounced dead at the scene. A suspect took off in a gray four-door vehicle and remained at large. Police say they know who the suspect is and they anticipate making an arrest very soon.
Also new this morning, a man in his early 20s was killed in the parking lot of an apartment complex. San Antonio police say the shooting happened at 11:30 last night in the 3400 block of Salado Creek Drive. While details are limited at this time, police tell us that the victim died from a single gunshot wound to the chest following a confrontation. Now, officers also tell us that the suspect fled the scene in a vehicle and is still missing. The shooting remains under investigation.
We continue to bring you the latest numbers involving the coronavirus right here in Bexar County. An additional 59 cases of COVID have now been reported. That brings the county's total to 44,052. The death toll rose by 7, bringing it to 598. 621 people currently hospitalized. That's actually an increase of 14 from yesterday. 279 remain in intensive care, and 192 patients are now on ventilators.
Time now, 6:08 and 78 degrees.
Like-minded families adapting to a new way of learning. After the break, Alicia Panda explains what learning pods are all about.
And taking a look outside with live cam, it is 78 degrees, but we are lucky we have rain chances and rain in some parts right now. We're going to check in with Mike to see what we can expect today and also the rest of your week. We'll be right back. And welcome back. It is 6:12. This morning, we're taking a look at learning pods. They are parents teaming up with like-minded families to create small groups of students that can be taught together.
Alicia Panda explains what these pods look like.
Hi, good morning. Yes, well, the school year hasn't even begun, and for some parents, the school year has already proven to be a juggling act, and some teachers may still be worried about how they'll make ends meet. So this is where the learning pods come in. Today on GMSA at 9, we'll be meeting a former teacher, Rebecca Lewis, who's making good use of her certifications as an educator, as well as the space in her home. She welcomed us into her learning pod, where she'll be teaching several kids under the age of 10. Rebecca shares how she learned about these teaching pods and how she even decided they were a good fit for her family and the families she's now serving. And by sharing her journey, other parents or teachers may be encouraged to do the same, or at least learn how to navigate making this decision. So for parents still stressed about how they'll be able to meet the demands of work while still ensuring that their child receives a good education from home, or educators in need of a supplemental income, this story may inspire you. We'll have the full story today on GMSA at 9. Alicia Barrera, Ksat 12 News.
6:13 here at Ksat, we like to highlight learning in our community. From science experiments to becoming a junior meteorologist, we want to get your kids involved.
And right now, our Sarah Spivey joins us live in the studio to tell us more how we can take part.
Hi,
Good
guys.
morning.
Good morning. Yes. Okay. We all know that virtual learning is the new cool thing with the school. And so at Ksat, we want to help your kids learn a little bit, and we want to provide some really neat things for them to do. So you can go right now to the Ksat Kids webpage, just type in Ksat Kids, and this is what you'll see. A website that really has a lot of different opportunities for kids there. You can see that we've got activities for students like Katie's science labs and my science lessons. We'll talk about those coming up at 6:30. But you scroll down a little bit more and there's even some more stories that are centered for kids. For example, I love this one. This is about some horned lizards that were recently hatched at the San Antonio Zoo. So we'll do stories like that, stories about the zoo, stories about potentially all kinds of things that have to do with kids, like how to plant a garden, or even some of our Ksat members here have shown off their kids a little bit. I know that one of our photographers, Billy, his son has done a really cool bird watching video there. Also, something that's really cool is you can be a junior meteorologist. You can get your kids to give us the weather report. Let's say they're bored and you're watching Ksat in the background and they're like, Mom, I want to be like Sarah, or I want to be like Justin, or I want to be like Mike or Katie. Well, they can actually do that. You can submit your Ksat Kids Junior Meteorologist submissions on our website as well. Again, Ksat Kids is amazing, and things are always changing on there. So if you want to stay up to date with Ksat Kids, you can actually sign up for the newsletter, and you'll get an email with things that are new to Ksat Kids. Now, coming up at 6:30 in the next half hour, I'm going to show off some really cool science experiments that meteorologist Katie Blake has done, and I'm also going to talk about some science lessons that I've done. My most recent one is all about clouds.
Clouds.
So, really excited.
You're a big cloud fan.
Yes.
You have been since you were a kid.
I've had my head in the clouds.
Yes, you have.
Looking forward to it.
And we're glad you're here on a Back to School Monday, Sarah.
Happy to be here, guys.
Awesome. All right. Thank you very much. Again, one more coming up in the next half hour. of GMSA.
But right now we had a couple of accidents on the road and kind of busy for a Monday morning.
It's been very busy for any morning, really, especially for a Monday morning. Not the way you want to start your work week. We do still have one accident in the clearing stages. That's down on the south side, the westbound access road of 410 between Roosevelt and Morrison Road, and all traffic being diverted back onto the main lanes. Right now, as we take a look at different areas through TransGuide, you can see Highway 90 at Medio Creek. Eastbound and westbound lanes are picking up in volume, but currently no delays in anyone's travel times.
That is good news. And we are excited, though, about the rain.
Yeah, at least we have a chance of rain. We had some earlier this morning and still a shot at some rain later on this afternoon, which is definitely encouraging. And since it is the first day of school for a lot of little ones out there, I know a lot of folks aren't necessarily, well, let me go back to this picture. Is it gonna work for me? Let's see. Do we have our little bus? Our school bus. Oh. It stayed in the bus barn. Anyway, take a look at the Ksat Connect picture, and as you can see, oh, it's beautiful out there at Woodlawn Lake. Some of the birds flying by. Gorgeous. Should have a fairly decent sunrise this morning in places. We do have some clouds that have moved on in here, and we had some rain earlier. There's still some rain being reported, just a couple of light sprinkles being reported out there at the airport, but most everything has come to an end. But one thing to take note of, that line right there working its way down to the south. We had somewhat of an outflow boundary. You may have noticed a wind shift earlier this morning, and that is going to be helping to get more showers and thunderstorms going later on this afternoon. A lot of this, when you can look at the radar picture and this stuff doesn't move, that's just some clutter, if you will, around the radar site. But there's some of those showers that have continued to work their way on through here. And like I said, there's a couple of them being reported at the airport, but not that much. It could be a few damp spots on the roads. Computer model through the rest of the morning. We have some clouds around, and then going into midday, sort of a lull in any sort of the rain action. We still have one or two clouds, but then by mid-afternoon, we start to see more of these showers and even a couple of thunderstorms pop up. And again, basically along that leftover energy from that outflow boundary from this morning. That will be the case in toward dinner time, into the early evening hours, as well as going into mid-evening, and then things are going to start to die down. Now, as far as the chance for anything strong or severe, Storm Prediction Center does have a marginal risk, very low risk for a strong to severe storm. High winds be the biggest threat with this, and this is basically south and west of I-10. Does include all of the hill country, San Antonio, and down to the south from there. It'll be kind of few and far between. All right, tropics. A couple of areas. This is right along the intertropical convergence zone right there, and that's where everything comes off the African continent and works its way in our direction. There are a couple of spots that the Hurricane Center is watching as of right now for potential development. And there is a long-range computer model that has some of these trying to work their way in through the Caribbean. One of them moving into the Gulf, kind of getting diverted up to the east of us. And this is just wishful thinking, 2 weeks down the road, which of course is an eternity as far as talking about the weather. But one computer model has one of those disturbances working its way into the southern Gulf of Mexico and maybe in our direction. But again, that's still 2 weeks off, so can't put any weight on that, but it's nice to think about, though. 94 degrees today at noon, partly cloudy skies, and then a high temperature today. I think we keep enough clouds around this afternoon. I'm going to bank on that, so staying at 98, and there will be a couple of scattered showers and thunderstorms developing later on this afternoon. Tomorrow, a leftover showers possible here and there in the afternoon, but also some hot temperatures. Now, today is the day that we start to decline as far as normal high temperatures, the 30-year average. We were at 97 for about 10 days. Now it's 96. Not on the graphic, though.
Not
still at hundreds.
Okay.
Yes.
That's okay.
Mother Nature's not paying attention to the history books right now.
No, she's not. It's a slow stroll towards cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
Thank you, Mike. Right now we're at 620, 78 degrees.
And coming up next, a man is speaking out after fighting off a great white with his bare hands. Now he managed to get the shark off his wife's leg.
Here's your secret word of the day. Enter it on ksat.com/Circle K for a monthly chance to win free gas for a year. Every entry wins a free iced coffee. Win with Circle K and GMSA.
What happens to your body language when your underarms are cared for? It shows. Introducing Dove Advanced Care. Its new formula with natural oil is effective and kind to skin, leaving underarms feeling healthy and protected, and you more confident and carefree.
At Pure Leaf, the most important ingredient in making tea is saying no. In our real brewed iced tea, we say no to artificial flavors and sweeteners, which means no settling, unless it's into a comfy chair. Pure Leaf. No is beautiful.
Quicker Picker-Upper. Bounty picks up messes quicker and is 2 times more absorbing, so you can use less. Bounty, the Quicker Picker-Upper.
In this morning's GMA First Look, fighting off a shark attack. 35-year-old Chantel Doyle attacked by a 10-foot great white. The shark latching onto her leg, refusing to let go. Her husband Mark, surfing nearby, saw it all and raced desperately over to her.
Well, you see the mother of your child and support everything that's who you are, and so you just react. You just get off that calf. That's all I could think was just get off.
Mark and the predator locked in a dangerous fight. So what exactly did this heroic husband do to save his wife? Coming up at 7 a.m., we have the dramatic details of how he fought off the shark and the tips so many swimmers need to know before getting in the water. With your GMA First Look, I'm Matt Gutman, ABC News, Los Angeles.
In the tech world today, Amazon's relationship with third-party sellers being investigated by German authorities. Germany is Amazon's second biggest market after the United States. Officials say there were complaints that Amazon had blocked some traders early in the pandemic for setting prices too high.
And Facebook is giving users the option of merging both Instagram and Messenger chats. This is the latest efforts by the social media giant to bring individual products and apps closer together.
Right now, 625, 78 degrees.
Still ahead on GMSA, helping foster youth prepare for college life. We're going to tell you all about the county pilot project and how successful it's been for one university.
The Democratic National Convention kicking off tonight. Up next, some of the big topics on the table and why Speaker Nancy Pelosi is calling the House back into session.
And taking a look out with TransGuide, a busy Monday morning right now. Loop 410, 151 looking okay for the time being. Are there any problems? Of course, Marcus will let you know. We'll be right back.
A big mess here on the south side could have drivers going out of their way. Police say 2 men were injured when this SUV rolled over. I'm Katrina Weber. I'll have more on that story.
It is the first day back to school for so many kids. We are in the classroom, but a lot of kids are going to be starting their academic year virtually. I'm Max Massey. We are here at Casmed High School. I'm going to give you an inside look at what the first day here is going to look like.
The battle over how to handle the upcoming election intensifies. I'm Inez de la Cuetara in Washington, and I'll have all the details coming up.
And outside with live cam on your back to school Monday, take a look at this shot. The heavens have opened up with a beautiful moon set there in the background with the sun just coming up on the horizon. That is absolutely gorgeous. We had some showers around earlier. We're going to talk about our rain chances in just a sec. Good morning to you. It is Monday. It is August 17th, and we have to welcome Stephanie Cerna to GMSA. Officially begins weekday duties today.
Thank you, Mark.
So glad you are here.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. I'm excited. I'm grateful. And I get to hang out with you 5 days a week.
We're glad to have you 5 days a week. We are certainly blessed to have you here. And we're going to talk more about Steph becoming a permanent part of the weekday team coming up a little bit later on in this half hour.
Yeah, but for now, let's go ahead and check the weather. Let's see if we're going to get that break that we've been wanting for so long.
Yes, we will have some more showers later on today. We had a couple of them around the area this morning. Actually, at about a half an hour ago, there was still some light rain being reported out at the airport. Nothing obviously is showing up in this picture. This is over there at 10 to 410, looking kind of toward the east a little bit. And there, can you barely see it? There's the moonrise up there, just at the top of that banner, that little Cheshire Cat smile out there. It is going to be the new moon in just a couple of days, and beautiful picture there. Obviously, we're going to have somewhat of a sunrise mixed in with some of those clouds. Now, we had some of those showers earlier this morning, as I mentioned. Everything is now fizzled on out. There's still some rain well off to the east of us. But notice the flow coming in here out of the north and this energy down here to the south. There was an outflow boundary that moved through here. What that's going to do is help to churn things up later on this afternoon. So we do have the chance for more rain today. Do have the chance for some of those storms to be on the strong to severe side. Marginal risk for that, according to the Storm Prediction Center. And yep, the bus is running this morning because a lot of folks are heading back to school this morning, or just in school, not necessarily, or studying, not at school. However, we're going to show the bus anyway. So a couple leftover showers or possible, maybe a damp spot on the road, and then some scattered rain later on today. And I think we have enough in the way of some clouds to keep temperatures at 98, but don't get used to that because it's going to be hot this week. Details in just a couple of minutes. Time saver traffic right now. And busy morning so far. Are you still seeing any wet spots on the roads at all?
Not anymore, okay. But we do still have that accident down on the south side. The other accidents have cleared and the traffic has resumed back to its normal pace. However, on the south side, main lanes of 410 might be just a little bit more crowded, not too much. That's because the access road of westbound 410 between Roosevelt and Morrison, all traffic being diverted up onto the main lanes due to that major accident. So more on that accident. Let's go live to Katrina Weber at the scene.
Good morning. Well, unfortunately, in the last hour or so, we haven't seen a whole lot of change. This wreck is still here. The access road's still shut down. I'll give you a better look at things. Police tell me that they're waiting just to get a few more snapshots here, and then they're going to have a wrecker come and tow this away. This car has been like this since about 4 o'clock this morning. Police say for some reason that they don't know, this SUV came off the highway, rolled over, and landed on its roof here. The two people who were inside were ejected. They were taken to the hospital for treatment of injuries, but police say it doesn't look at this point like they're life-threatening. Now, earlier they did have their helicopter up because they thought there possibly could be more people involved, and they might have also been ejected, so they wanted to fly over and make sure there was no one else here who they may have missed. But again, it's still a big question mark as to how this happened. They say the two people weren't offering up a whole lot of answers as they were taken to the hospital. Reporting live on the south side, Katrina Weber, KSAT 12 News.
Thank you, Katrina. And back to school looking a lot different this year for so many students, teachers, and parents. Many of the big districts in our area are starting their school year today. Alamo Heights, East Central, Edgewood, Floresville, Northeast ISD, San Antonio ISD, and Southside ISD all starting today. Our Max Bessie joins us live from inside Cass Med High School with how the staff there is getting ready for the big day. Good morning, Max.
Good morning, guys. Well, as you can see, we are inside a classroom. There are desks, there are chairs, but Cass Med, like SAISD, they're going to be starting their year virtually, at least for the first 3 weeks. This stuff is here in preparation for if the COVID cases go down after those first 3 weeks. And we are joined here, Mr. Nettie, a biology teacher here. So right off the bat, we know virtual learning is going to be for at least the first 3 weeks. How has it been kind of shifting, pivoting to that virtual learning for you guys?
So it's amazing. Teachers have been preparing all summer. We have district administration that have been helping master teachers coordinate new lessons. So all teachers are going to be having resources to switch from physical face-to-face learning to online virtual learning. And we're very excited to get the students back into class and get them learning and get engaged with them. So yeah, it's been a big shift, but I think we're ready for it.
There's kind of that sense of optimism, that electricity in the air. It's obviously the first day of school, but you also seemed very enthusiastic that the programs you now have in place, it allows you to be really interactive with these students.
Definitely. The teachers are able to make use of a number of programs that we can get the students involved and engaged, discussing topics. It's real similar to being face-to-face, except the students can enjoy learning from the comfort of their own home.
Now, we spoke to the superintendent of SISD. He said that you guys have actually distributed more than 42,000 devices, kind of help close that digital divide. What is your message to parents, to students, and to some of the staff out there?
So, parents, students, get ready. We're going to have a great year. We at Cass Med and of course here at SAISD, I'm sure we're keeping the students' safety in mind first. So as you can see, we're going to be starting with virtual learning, but as soon as we can, we'll get the students in class, and we're going to be interacting face to face.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much. Really appreciate your time. And guys, if you have any questions about the first 3 weeks, about the digital divide, or about the phase-in plan, we have all that information right now. Just head to ksat.com. Mark, Stephanie.
Thank you so much, Max, and good luck to everybody starting the academic year today. Right now at 6:36, the Democratic National Convention officially kicks off tonight, and the focus is on three main topics: the coronavirus pandemic, the ongoing economic crisis, and the national reckoning over racial injustice.
In the meantime, Speaker Nancy Pelosi is calling the House back into session over the crisis at the U.S. Postal Service. ABC's Ines de la Cuatera has the latest.
Good morning. Instead of welcoming more than 50,000 party members, this year's DNC will be held mostly online. It's one of the biggest political events of the campaign season. The Democratic National Convention kicking off tonight with a We the People theme, featuring a slate of speakers tailored to address the three big crises now facing the nation: the coronavirus pandemic, the ongoing economic crisis, and the national reckoning over racial injustice. This as the battle over how to handle the upcoming election intensifies. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi taking the dramatic step of calling the chamber back to Washington for a rare session this weekend to deal with the unfolding crisis at the U.S. Postal Service. Democrats calling on the Postmaster General to resign, accusing Louis DeJoy, a Trump ally and GOP donor, of trying to silence millions of voters.
We've got to do everything we can to get rid of this new Postmaster General, who is clearly a campaign contributor for Trump, trying to undermine the Postal Service.
Democratic lawmakers also demanding DeJoy testify before Congress after cutting back on costs and overtime, resulting in a mail slowdown just months before Election Day. The Washington Post reporting attorneys general from at least 6 states are considering legal action to protect the Postal Service as soon as this week. The president defending DeJoy.
Yeah, he's a fantastic man. He wants to make the post office great again.
Funding for the post office is now on hold. 46 states and Washington, D.C. have already been warned that ballots may not be delivered in time to be counted. Ines de la Cuatera, ABC News, Washington.
And time now is 6:38 and 78 degrees for now.
Coming up next, helping ease the transition into college life for students who have aged out of the foster system, how the county is getting involved. 6:42, navigating college life can be difficult, as it is for many students, but more so for those who have aged out of the foster system.
And that's why Bexar County and local colleges are doing their best to help make sure that transition is easier for foster children.
Our Erica Hernandez shares stories about how a county pilot project has been successful for UTSA.
A report by Texas Higher Education Foster Care Liaisons showed anywhere between 2 to 9% of foster youth graduate from higher education. Those numbers are why Bexar County set up the Fostering Educational Success Pilot Project.
Things that we often take for granted and that we learn from our support system, our family, and our parents. Our students don't necessarily have that opportunity, and so the pilot is working very diligently to ensure that our students have those needs met.
Since starting last fall, the pilot project has so far served over 200 students at UTSA, Texas A&M San Antonio, and the Alamo College District. One of those students is UTSA senior MJ Jones, who just over a year ago was struggling with no guaranteed place to live.
Definitely been my lifesaver for college, and since moving here, and there's just so many supports here. I've never seen that before here. It honestly did save my life, because it's like I've had to make my own family here, and so it's been amazing.
And this upcoming fall semester, despite the coronavirus pandemic, UTSA is already seeing big numbers, with 125 students with a history of foster care already registered.
What we saw instead was an increase of people reaching out to us and wanting to be involved, specifically to access some of the resources that we do offer, which include emergency funds, supervised independent livings, which includes student housing on campus.
This collaborative partnership hopes to provide more opportunities for foster youth to succeed in college, both academically and emotionally.
We have a lot to offer and help to make that transition and pathway as seamless as possible.
Erica Hernandez, KSAT 12 News.
6:44, we course, I've been talking about being a back-to-school Monday. Here at Ksat, we love to highlight learning in our community.
And right now, our Sarah Spivey joins us live in the studio to talk about the Ksat Kids website. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm so happy to be here this morning, guys. It is back to school. You know, it looks a little different this year, a lot of online learning. And so we wanted to kind of make that a little easier for students and teachers both by providing resources for your kids to help them learn a little bit more online, or just really, honestly, relevant news stories for your kiddos that are age appropriate. So let me show you the Ksat Kids webpage. You can sign up for a newsletter and you'll get notifications about stories and science lessons that we do, or even science experiments. And meteorologist Katie Blake and I have really taken the opportunity to try to do some fun things. This is a really great video of one of Katie's science experiments. She calls it Katie's Science Lab. In this particular experiment, she is testing out candy and Pop Rocks to kind of show the carbon dioxide in soda, mixing with the citric acid in candy. It was a really fun experiment. I got to be here live and see it. That's David, too, kind of being her assistant. And this is an example of one of my science lessons that I do. This one will be up there later on this afternoon. This is my lesson on clouds, how clouds form, different types of clouds, and things like that. I've also got science lessons about thunderstorms and how those form, as well as the phases of the moon. With this cloud lesson, you can even make clouds at home in a water bottle. And so I do a fun experiment there. So be on the lookout for that. Be on the lookout for all different kinds of science lessons and science experiments. Katie does her science experiments every Wednesday on GMSA at 9. Of course, you can also get your kids to be a junior meteorologist and look up some really cool stories like from the zoo or things like that. So sign up for that newsletter. It's going to be great for you to stay informed. Again, a lot of learning is now online, and this is a fun way for you to do it.
I think you're a great meteorologist. I also think you're an excellent teacher.
Oh, thank you, Mark.
You are.
Thank you so much. So check out those lessons.
Okay.
Looking forward to the cloud one.
Yep.
Sounds good.
Thank you, Sarah. Let's go straight to Marcus, get an update on time saver traffic on your back to school Monday. How's it looking out there right now, Marcus?
Not too bad. Let's take a look. The one accident we still have at the clearance stages, you saw from Katrina's last report, down there on the south side. So that's affecting not the main lanes of 410. However, the access road westbound between Roosevelt and Morrison Boulevard, all traffic being diverted back onto the main lanes due to the debris that's scattered across the lanes of the access road. Take a look outside, Highway 151 at 410. You see no issues there as traffic starting to pick up ever so slowly. However, no changes in anyone's travel times.
Mike?
Good news.
Thank you very much. I was just admiring this picture.
Oh yeah,
there.
you know what I forgot, Mike? We're gonna
pictures.
We're gonna re-celebrate.
Oh.
Hey,
We've brought some pictures out. This, of course, is Stephanie. You've been with Ksat now about a decade?
Yes, a decade. That's
yes,
right.
and that is a photographer who you met here at Ksat, and he now happens to be
My husband. Yes, that's Luis. That was us reporting on the Flambeau Parade, and this is our engagement picture, but it's special to me. It's right there on Houston Street.
Yeah.
And the people who don't know, I'm a runner, and this is during my 4th marathon.
Jeez. And she's smiling.
I know. Well, Stephanie always smiles, though.
Smiles in every picture.
At that point, I was pretty happy. This is my family, my 2 brothers. Art and Louie, Art and Lou now. Sorry, not Louie. Sorry, Louie. And that's my mom, and then that's me. So yeah, and that's my little girl Rooney.
Your mini me.
And this is what we like to do. We like to have fun and having a blast.
She's got her mama's smiles. So we bring out the pictures once again to celebrate the fact that Stephanie's joining the weekday team here on GMSA, and today is her first official day on air with her new morning family.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. Grateful, glad to have you as my family, and glad to see you guys 5 days a week. Thank
Steph,
you.
we're the lucky ones. We are.
Oh,
right.
thank
Mike?
you, Mark.
Agree with you on that one, Mark. All right, we were talking about admiring this picture, beautiful sunset picture from Cotulla. Mr. Childers, thank you very much for that. And, you know, going back to what Sarah was talking about, hey, kids, how many different types of clouds can you identify in that picture? A lot of different ones in there. So right now we do have some clouds out there, our morning stratus layer, and they're starting to break up just a little bit. Temperatures are in the 70s, so really not that much different this morning than the past couple of mornings. And we did have an outflow boundary move on through here that actually knocked out some of the humidity. It came down from the north. So we've got a dew point of 65, which still above 60, but that's not bad. 72 still in Pleasanton. That's where we were earlier this morning, so it's a bit more pleasant. We've got a north to northeasterly breeze that moved on in here. Here's what it looks like on the radar loop. We had some rain earlier this morning. Within the hour, there was a little bit of some light showers being reported out there at the airport, and pretty much everything has kind of come to an end. And then notice also the flow again coming out of the north, and these lines down here, that's along the outflow boundary. What that's going to do is help to form more showers and a couple of more thunderstorms later on this afternoon, especially from about San Antonio, I-10, and down to the south. Later on today is going to be the area with the best opportunity to see anything. This is just some clutter right there around the radar site, and really, if there's a sprinkle out there, great, but nothing's really showing up on radar. Here's what the computer model looks like. We have a lull in the action through midday. Then mid-afternoon, again, we start to see a few more of those showers popping up around here. It's about a 40, almost 50% chance for some rain. Obviously, a little bit better chance, as I mentioned, further on down to the south. That's going to be the case in through dinner time, into the early evening hours. A couple more of those showers and a few thunderstorms even into mid-evening, and then they'll start to die down again. We do have a chance for one of those to be on the stronger side. Storm Prediction Center has us in the marginal risk for a couple of stronger storms later on into the early evening hours. High winds would be the biggest threat. Doubtful, but some small hail would be a possibility. A couple spots being watched in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Nothing to affect us, though, anytime soon. There's speculation way down the road, but that's a lot can change between now and then. Anyway, today, 94 degrees, partly cloudy skies. And then later on this afternoon, I think we keep enough in the way of some clouds around here to keep us just below 100. So I'm going for 98. I'm banking on some of those clouds with a few showers and thunderstorms developing primarily to the south. And then tomorrow, other than a stray shower, it's back to the triple-digit temperatures, and that's going to be the case all the way through the week and even hot into the weekend.
Thank you, Mike. 6:51, 78 degrees.
And with students and parents working and starting the school year from home, it's easy to forget your typical morning routine. Tomorrow on GMSA, we look into a new study as kids kick off the new school year.
2 men are in the hospital after a rollover crash here on the south side. Good morning, I'm Katrina Weber. The SUV they were in still here on the scene. This is the westbound access road of Loop 410 near Moorsun. This is where the SUV landed. Police say that it came off the highway for some reason that they still don't know. The 2 men who were inside this SUV were ejected. Police found them on the grass, rushed them to the hospital. They also flew overhead in their helicopter to make sure there was no one else who might have been thrown from this car as it came to this violent crash. They say that the people who were inside weren't offering a whole lot of answers as to how this happened, so that is still a mystery at this point. Reporting from the south side, Katrina Weber, KSAT 12 News.
Thank you, Katrina. And folks, taking a look at other roadways, 21 at Winding Way, you can see north and southbound lanes running smoothly. No problems here. I-10 at Dominion as we start to get an increase in the traffic flow on those eastbound main lanes. Mike?
Could still be a couple of damp spots on the roads, especially on the north and northeast side of town. Other than that, the rain has ended for the time being. 94 at noon, 98 high temperature today. I think we have enough clouds to keep us just below 100. A few scattered showers and thunderstorms out there. A couple of them maybe on the strong side, especially south of I-10, so a marginal risk for a strong storm later on this evening.
Fantastic. So what was it like working your first official day on weekday GMSA?
It was awesome. It was great. And I shared my first day with a lot of people sharing, their first day of school. So good luck to you guys.
Have a great day, everybody. See you at 9.